3 shots, 4 par, I just do 2. 1 putt, par 4, birdie, woohoo. New driver, info, replace, M2, par 5, fairway, what you fin do? Think I'll try to get on into, start right, good line, good view, it drew, shoot and McGavin, 2 thumbs up.
This will be the fourth Eastern Michigan guy, I guess. We've covered quite a few. We had Ty Saloni. So you would have had a bit of a crossover with Ty. Ty was there, right?
Yeah. Ty was a close buddy of mine last year on the team for sure.
Nice. And then we've had Jake McNulty. He's older. Jake's closer to my age.
Yeah, I played a couple pro events with Jake.
Yeah, I saw that you played the TPC Osprey Valley in 21. I carried from that weekend. Yes, we have had him on, and then Gordo was Eastern Michigan too, right, Bryce? Is that right?
No, I don't think Gordo went there.
We had one other one. I can't remember who it was, but
Gordo.
I think I said Gordo, but I don't think it was him either. But
was it Bo? Bo Brault?
No, we'll have to look it up. We'll have to go through and figure it out. But yeah, so
we're forgetting
number 3 or 4 Eastern Michigan guys. So this is number 134 for us on the Screws podcast. Cam Kellett Golf. Cam, thanks for joining us, man. How are you doing today?
Good, man. Yeah, it's a beautiful day here in London, Ontario. So can't complain.
So I definitely wanted to jump in. We've got a couple pods in the next few weeks coming up with guys who have. So Oshawa's home course to some of us that listen to the pod for sure. Like I work in Oshawa, Brycer's just in Whippy there, and he's down in Michigan now. But we've all been around there, and they just had the qualifier, so we definitely wanted to get some guys on who have been in it or who are in it you've qualified. Brycer's good friend Zach was part of that field, who's going to Coppinwood. I guess it's June. It's like June 4th or something, isn't it?
June 4th, yeah.
Oh, 4th.
Yeah, because the event starts the following week. The 6th, I think, is the Monday. So, if we can, we'll come back to that a little bit. But maybe you can just tell our listeners here a little bit about yourself on and off the course, and then we can kind of jump into that qualifier.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So been golfing pretty much since I was 9, tournaments since I was like 12 or 13. Been at 3 different schools. Was at a D2 school, Young Harris, my first year in college. I didn't play very well in junior golf. Like had some good finishes, but nothing crazy. And then I had a good year in 2018 where I won the men's match play, Ontario men's match play, and had a couple other solid finishes and sort of got my name on the map. And then I ended up transferring to Nevada just after spending a year at Young Harris there, and went out to Reno there for a year, and then COVID hit in March. Didn't really perform out there. Just wasn't the right fit, I don't think, for me. I like the guys on the team, but just had some issues with the coach, and just kind of didn't see eye to eye on him with some things. And so I ended up actually getting released from there just because they wanted to bring the three guys back for the COVID year, the 3 seniors. So I was kind of the weakest link. So learned a lesson of the college golf business that way. And then I ended up sort of just kind of losing it there for a bit. And my roommate actually passed away when I was in Reno as well. So it was kind of like a kind of a lost year, that 2020, just kind of a blur, I think, for a lot of people. But 2020 was sort of a tough year where I kind of needed to get my stuff together, and ended up just taking a year to regroup. And I was going to go to Eastern like that following year, kind of in the middle of COVID, but I just kind of needed a mental reset from college golf. It's pretty stressful. It's always been kind of stressful and made me anxious over the years. So I did that, and I think it was a good call. I started to play better in 21, and then I couldn't really find a groove at Eastern my first year. Was kind of in and out of the lineup, and just, not feeling myself as much, like kind of lost a bit of that confidence I had coming into college. And then going after that, I just sort of learned a lot of lessons. Been seeing a therapist there for a couple of years now, and worked through a lot of stuff that I kind of baggage I had, and I've sort of found myself in my groove the last few months here, and played a lot more consistent golf all year. Had a few pretty rough tournaments, but some were kind of due to injury and burnout, and others were just, the putter wasn't as good as it usually is this year. But yeah, and then off the course, I've sort of always been see myself as just a golfer, so I've sort of been trying to expand into more than that the last couple of years. I started a mental health blog and my own brand last year, Cam Kellett Golf, where I wasn't able to post as much when I was at school just because it was just a lot with school and golf and balancing that. So, but when I'm home, I'm able to get posts out sort of weekly and keep the website going, and donate like 10% of my earnings on my merchandise to going out and buying food for homeless people, because that's always been a passion of mine. And then yeah, I mean, other than that, it's just the normal stuff. I'm a big family guy. I love spending time at home with my family. It's kind of why I had to come back closer to home at Eastern, and yeah, just my whole life's pretty much just golf, family, my girlfriend, and just hanging out with the boys. It's pretty much, and trying to have fun doing it. So that's pretty much the gist of it.
No, I appreciate
Might
that,
be
Cam.
one
And
of the better self intros we've had, honestly.
yeah, that's I like that a lot. There's a lot of details there, and what we'll do, Cam, before the end of it is we'll grab your website with your merch and drop it in the show notes below. So if anybody wants to go check it out, they can. So if we can go back to Nevada, you said you lost your roommate there, right? So you're just a young guy, like at your second university, like all the way across the country. Like you know, you went from Eastern Michigan, or you went from Western Nevada to Eastern Michigan, pretty much, or pretty close, right? So that experience for you, like, did that want to bring you closer to home? Like, did it make you want to like kind of get in and grind, play golf a little bit more to distract yourself, or like you said, you identified essentially as a golfer while you were there? Did it make you just want to like step away from the sport for a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I think I was just in a bad mental spot. I think I kind of I took everything really personally back then. I was very like emotional, and everything that the coach did and coach said and this and that, I sort of took very personally, whereas I realize now it's just a business, and
Right.
it's just who's producing and who's not. And then yeah, I guess when that happened, it was all happened so fast, and I never really like worked through it until really, like, honestly pretty recently. But yeah, when it happened, and the following months after, golf was definitely like more on the back burner. I felt very down like a lot of the time, and I really just didn't have the same drive that I have now, and
Yeah.
that I've had most of my life, like, which is understandable because there's a lot to happen at once. But yeah, I felt very lost. Like I didn't have a clear path on, and everything felt very uncertain all the time. I think I turned to some pretty unhealthy habits because of that. I've been able to get over those the last couple of years for sure, but I mean, there wasn't much else to do besides drink with friends and carry on and try to pretend that like things weren't happening. And I think that's sort of what I was doing. And I don't know, like, I didn't really, like, I only lived with the guy for just under a year, so I don't know. I almost felt like wasn't sure how sad I was supposed to be, or like how much it was supposed to affect my life. To be honest, it's like I really liked the guy, and we got along well. I saw him every day, but like, I almost felt like, well, you didn't know him that well, so you're not supposed to feel like that much sadness about it. But like,
Yeah.
I never really dealt with it, and it definitely affected the way I treated my golf game the next few months, and I sort of lost the game for a while there because I wasn't putting the same time in and energy into my craft and everything. When I was playing, I was just like, I was either drinking or like not doing the right things in my practice that sort of helped me get to the level that I'm at. So I guess to answer your question, it did affect me quite a bit when I was, and I definitely was a lot less focused on my craft when all that storm sort of happened.
Yeah, man, it's like you're so sorry, Brycer, but you're so young, right? Give me one sec, Brycer. You're so young, so like it's hard enough to navigate like life in general, right? So, one of my best friends when I was 18, Vanessa, I lost her as well too. So she was, I was not pursuing like pro golf or college golf or anything at the time, but it just completely blurs everything that you go through, right? So Vanessa had been, one of my friends since I was 6. Like she was in my elementary school, grew up with me. We hung out all the time. She lived like across the road. It was great, man. She was cool. And then there's no playbook though that tells you how to like handle that and how to deal with that type of thing, right? So then I imagine too, like in today's world of, I'm probably 10 years older than you. So in today's world of social media and how everything is kind of public and out there, and when you're away at school, trying to manage that as well, man. So hats off to you for being able to overcome those things and kind of bring yourself to where you are now. Cause that's incredible, man. That's a good story. That's an incredible story. And it's a positive impact. You're doing a lot of positivity or positive things for the community by the sounds of it too, which is a good example for people to see. So, yeah, I think it's impressive, Cam. Good for you, man. Sorry, Bryce, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to kind of add on to that and saying credit to you to realize what's going on in your life. I mean, some things are more important than golf or what your profession is sometimes. And a lot of guys will just put that on the back burner and keep grinding golf. And I think it's credit to you for realizing that you kind of weren't in the right space and to kind of step back. And I'm sure looking back at it now, you kind of say it was probably one of the better things you did for your golf game, right? So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thanks, boys.
Well, Bryce, you've kind of told this story, Bryce, on a different scale, but like with your hockey career, right? You were kind of at the point where you were, not like you weren't first PP unit, like you weren't getting 25 minutes of ice time and stuff like that. So you like step back from the OHL, you went to Chatham or however you tell your story. And it's kind of similar, right? You had to take a step back and like really try and do what you could to like enjoy the game. It's a similar road in a sense, much less tragic, but yeah, it's pretty cool, man. So definitely, again, we'll remind anybody who wants to go check out the brand. It's just in the show notes below. Go ahead and click it, check it out. But Cam, if we can, Bryce, or if you're done, if we can kind of take it back, what got you started in golf? Have you always been a golfer, junior golf? You said that you kind of didn't get hot until more recently. So, like what brought you into the game?
Yeah, my dad got me into the game when I was like 9. He started me, and yeah, I just fell in love with it. I've always sort of loved the grind of it. And hey, Jax, relax, bud.
Always love when we got animals on the pod, man. This is it's the best.
Hey, sit down. Anyways, but yeah, my dad got me into it when I was 12. I started getting into like competitive golf and tournaments and that side of it, and I just have always been very competitive. Everything I've done, and it was sort of just an outlet to use that, and then it just got more exciting as the years went on. I didn't sort of see the results I wanted, but I was always a pretty hard worker as a kid too, and just loved the grind like every other kid. Being out course all day, sun up to sundown. Mom drops you off and picks you up, and I always loved being out there and just playing contests and anything and everything. I've always been very competitive, so I think and my dad the same exact way. He still gets just as mad in his 50s as he did when he was my age, and I think that's where I get that fiery side of myself. But yeah, he's definitely the one who got me into it, and who's been with me every step of the way. So yeah.
So do you think, Cam, like you mentioned that you have like a mental coach and you've been working with like a therapist and stuff, you think that you're finding ways to channel that, maybe what would have been like a distraction or negative energy in the past, into like a positive part of your game?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty much exactly on the hit the nail right on the head. And I've definitely sort of taken my struggles with anxiety and like ADHD and channeled them into more of a superpower rather than something I'm fighting all the time. And yeah, I've definitely used like that hyper focus on like having to be the best or wanting to win, like for self gratification, and turn that into like enjoying the process, like everybody says. But really, I've started to do that, and I don't rely on the results as much to make myself feel proud. I feel proud of the hard work I put in, and then the results are just like, you know, they're a big part of it, but at the end of the day, they're a small part of it because I'm gonna get up and try to do the same thing the next day and focus on the long term goals rather than you know, such a microscopic picture of it for me. So it's definitely more positive than it used to be. I used to feel dragged down by sort of how competitive and how into the game I was, and like now I just feel like I use it to channel my focus and try to do my best each time. I feel like I have a better perspective now than I used to, which is a lot healthier, I think, when I come home, and I don't feel like a bag of shit after a bad day as much. I just feel like, you know, tomorrow's a new one, and I guess I just believe in myself more than I used to. So it's a lot easier to have good perspective that way when you're kind of honest with yourself of what's going on, and you know what you're good at, what your weaknesses are, and where you're vulnerable, and just sort of going like battling with those strengths and weaknesses, and trying to be in your own corner versus being like, yeah, like this is overwhelming, like there's so much going on, I can't handle it. Just I guess I've taken things more one step at a time than I have in the past, and it's
Which is
big
huge
difference.
with golf, right? Because you can get so down on yourself so quickly in that sport.
Yeah,
In this sport, and it's you can really beat yourself up for having even just one bad hole. I mean, I've
right.
done it. Everyone's done it. I think that's a good mindset to have moving forward here.
Yeah, I think it's
But
just like, I think sorry Bryce, I think like golf can be, your round can change so easily by like simply being 2 feet to the right or 2 feet to the left, and like your approach shot, you don't really have that shot. Maybe you're not comfortable hitting that shot. Maybe it's just not like where you want it to be, and then maybe like dwell on that a little bit. I think back to like, I was just talking to you, Bryce, last year. I had a round going. So, like for me, I think I was like 1 under on the front at Port Hope, like really tough course. And then I made I almost dumped. Okay. So I hit my tee shot in the drink on, I think I was like 1 under through 10. So I go to the par three and I like put one in the drink, and I was like so stubborn, I wouldn't go to the drop zone, and I just like hit another one, and my like dispersion was incredible. Like I hit it directly in the ripple that I hit the other one in. So I like I like dropped 5 on the block, and I was just like, well, my whole round's like fucked. This
isn't
sucks.
that the one where you walked off on 12?
No, probably not the same day. Maybe no, because I finished this round, I think. Yeah, I did finish this round, and I almost jarred it. I almost jarred it for 5. I had an inch, like I almost made essentially a hole in one for 5, and like I don't get too like tilted on the course, but that was like a good start for me. Like usually, you know, 3 or 4 over or something like that through 9 now. Like my game's not as tight as it used to be, but so it was a good day, and I was just like striking the ball really well. And then that happened. I was like, damn. But then I thought to myself, I was like, what a bad story that would be to have to like tell people I hold out for 5 from the tee block. Like I would have just been so frustrated with myself. So
Yeah.
it was, yeah, it was tough. And then so I went triple there, double on the next, and like my round just fell apart. And like that can happen in golf, right? And then, but again, like the next day could be different. It could be better. It could be worse. Could be, you know, it's like you said, it's like the long-term goal that really matters, right? And whatever that goal is for each individual player is important to kind of keep that in mind. Like 9 holes or one stretch of 3 or 4 holes isn't going to define your career. It's not going to change that, right? Mac here for BioSteel. We absolutely love this one on the pod. The hydration mix has been in our golf bags forever. The hydration mix has been designed in the most natural way possible to help you stay hydrated throughout your round of golf. Zero sugar formula is made from clean, quality ingredients and contains no artificial flavors and colors, added vitamins and minerals to help support overall good health, normal function of your golf swing, and your immune system. Simply mix it into some water, and you can enjoy it through all 18 holes. Clean, healthy hydration. Zero sugar, natural health product, no artificial flavors or colors, no artificial sweeteners, no preservatives, caffeine-free, NSF, certified for sport. Biosteel.ca, biosteel.com. Use the promo code SCREWS30 for 30% off your order. SCREWS30 for 30% off your order. Stay hydrated, my friends. Back here from Manscaped, introducing the Beard Hedger from our friends over at Manscaped. With 20 different lengths, you can look good from the cart path to the clubhouse. Shop manscaped.com using the promo code OTSGolf for 20% off plus free shipping. Shop any and all Manscaped products at manscaped.com using the promo code OTSGolf for 20% off plus free shipping. We'll see you on the back nine. Yeah, there was a time though, Bryce, where I walked off after 12. There was, because the parking lot is right there. So I'm just like, oh shit.
In Mac's defense, the parking lot's right beside hole 12. So
yeah, so I'm
like
a
little bit of an excuse to leave. But that was kind of like my round the other day. Well, not the other day, a couple weeks ago. I was 1 under on the front, then went 10 over on the back to shoot 9 over or something.
Yeah,
whatever it was. But it's just like, yeah, but
What
like
a dumb game.
But like, it's like you have the right mindset. It's like whatever. Like it's one day. Like the next day I can go shoot 2 under. Like I don't know. It's just you move forward. But anyways.
Well, hey. There's an example, Bryce. Let me just cut in. There's an example where DJ a couple years ago went 80-80 and then 2 weeks later won the Masters. So that's golf, man. It can happen, right?
Yeah.
Well, I want to get into the qualifier this past weekend Monday. On Monday. Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm on vacation, so my dates are all over.
Yeah, man.
All whacked up. But anyways, how'd that go? Was that the first time you played that golf course, and kind of go through your round?
No, I played Jack's. Stop. Good boy.
I love this, man. We gotta get Jax on camera or something here. What kind of dog you got, Cam?
He's a pit bull.
Look at that guy.
Is he watching? Is he seeing people walk by and barking?
Yeah, he's freaking out.
That's so sweet. So anybody who's not checking it out on YouTube, that's a nice looking. Is that the back porch or the front porch?
Sunroom.
That's a sunroom, yeah.
Sunroom. So you're coming up to the spot, and it's just got a putting green there. Pit bull,
yeah,
like
just a little piece of chunk of turf.
Yeah.
Like
I really want to roll one, but there's a pit bull growling at me here right now. That's sweet, man.
But I played Oshawa last year in the USAM qualifier and played 36 in a day, so I felt like I got to know the course pretty well. And I actually played 36 with my dad and brother on Saturday, the Saturday before. So I ended up taking the Sunday off because they wanted like a bill to play the practice round, and it was already like $300 for the tournament. So I decided to just rest and do some short game and just hang out at the Airbnb there. But no, I've played the course before, like I said last year, and you can get really hot out there. There's certainly bogey holes, but you can get really hot, and you can also get. There's certainly holes you can screw yourself. Like I was on the back there, 14, 15, the par 5 along the trees.
Yeah.
Still got to produce good shots, but yeah, obviously you can get hot with the drivable par 4s but you know what? Like green complexes are good out there. Like, and they put pins right under ridges and stuff, and you just. But yeah, the round wasn't. I didn't play very well, to be honest. Up front, I couldn't get anything going. I knew the back nine's obviously easier, and I just wasn't converting anything and wasn't hitting it my best. But I try to just stay patient. I know those qualifiers, you never know, kind of what gets through. I thought I had to be closer to 3 to get through, because I was in the morning wave, so the wind was down. So I just stayed patient. I was 1 over through 10, 1 over through 11. Just hadn't really made anything and wasn't hitting it my best, but I hit one tight on 12 and converted that for birdie, and then, or 12, so I guess 3 were the short par 3 there.
Yeah.
And then was able to, didn't get the next par 5. I was in the green side bunker, but I tucked the pin under that big ridge there.
Where did they have the pin
on
on number 3 there, Cam? Sorry, Bryce.
Like front, middle.
On 3.
Yeah.
The par 3.
Yeah.
They had it front right.
Okay.
Front
Yeah.
right.
So everything kind of
gap wedge like in the back, almost back fringe, and spun all the way back.
Yeah. I had the same thing happen. I think I hit the same thing, like a 52, and it hit like just one hop off the back of the green and then zipped all the way back to the front. It's just like that green is sloped like heavily, right? From back to front.
How were the greens though? I played it, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, and they were just freshly punched. Are they all good now, or are they still a little ripped?
No, they didn't roll. They roll good enough for sure, but like some of them were still pretty punched.
Because some of those greens roll pretty true.
Yeah,
they do. Yeah. So they still rolled fine. Like even over the punch marks, they still rolled all right. But like there was a few greens that it was pretty tough to make putts on.
Mm-hmm. And that par 5 green is, when they tuck it on that ridge, it's tough.
Yeah, it looks like it's easy because it's under the bowl, but you can't really use the bowl because it picks up so much speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I played the rest of the round pretty good. I was like just steady, and I started to hit the ball a bit better and just make solid pars, and ended up hitting. They played the par 4 16th up, or sorry, 7th, par 4 7th up. Like I think it was 440 or something, and I drove it just in the right rough and ended up hitting wedge, really good wedge shot over that big ass tree to like 4 feet. And then made that for birdie. So
I did that same thing. I do. That tree is so annoying.
Yeah, but no,
it's there for that reason though. It's like, it's so anybody like listening who might not have an idea of the course, and we're kind of going through it, talking about it. It's an old Stanley Thompson design, so it's a very Parkland design. It's old. It's a pretty old course, so it's similar if you played Dundas Valley or Kawartha or something like that. It's similar to those types of courses. It's the greens are the defense, right? And those old trees are like the only level of defense. Otherwise, yeah, like, so when we were talking, I think just before we hopped on, we thought there might be a number. There might be like an 8 or something like that. But I think 5 under 1. Yeah, 5 under 1. Yeah.
Well, I get screwed on that hole because I hit a cut, and there's also a big tree on the left that's in the rough, but it hangs over kind of almost in the fairway. So if I want to hit my cut and avoid that tree on the right, I almost hit that tree every time.
You just got to go really high if not too, because those are old trees. They're 100 years old, right? That course has been around for a while, so it's got to be coming up on 100 years old. But definitely a nice track though. I haven't played it yet. I haven't been out there yet, and it is only like a few blocks away from my office, so I definitely need to get out there. I got a lot of buddies there, but it's a good track, man. And so can you walk us through like the prep on the day, Cam? Like as as whatever your professional preparation is, like, does that change for a qualifying event versus a tournament event? Do you do the same thing? You got the same type of warm up, same type of meals? Can you kind of walk us through your day?
Yeah. So the prep doesn't really change. No, I try to find just quadrants, like obviously where I try to find where the pin's at, and then the pins are going to be. I guess it's more conservative in a 3-day tournament, obviously, slightly, but I use Decade, like the Scott Fawcett system. So
yeah, I was just going to ask that. Yeah. So I've been on that since July of 21, and I don't really go off of that too much. It's really just helped me improve, like
improve my game and look at the game more, black and white rather than, making emotional decisions. But anywho, yeah, I get sort of the quadrants of the green I want to be in, and places there you can't hit it. So I try to avoid those by aiming a little further off those, and that's sort of how I work the pins. And then I just sort of get the decade targets off the tee. So I figure out the fattest chunk to hit it in, and then just try to find the middle of that, and that's how I get that's how I prepare for tee shots. And it's really made it easier for me, because a lot of times I'd be up thinking before a qualifier, like, oh, am I going to hit 3-wood or hybrid or driver there? Or, I got to birdie this hole or that. But this has made it a lot easier to just be like, well, this is my game. I'm going to just play it like this. And, hopefully I convert a few opportunities, and that'll put me right there. But it's made it a lot more black and white and less stressful for me. And then, yeah, the night before, I just drank a lot of water. I try to hydrate so I don't feel jittery in the morning or dehydrated. And then I like to wake up like 2 hours before my tee time. Yeah, as for course strategy, it's pretty much the same as in regular tournaments. But coming down, it changes if obviously there's 5 holes left and you're 3 over par. Then it changes, because that you have to do something, and then you play more aggressively, and just, it's more like a Monday qualifier kind of deal, where if it's on, it's on, if it's not, it's not, and you just move on. But my strategy doesn't really change until the last few holes, because if you stay patient with that process, a lot of times you make a few birdies without even trying anything too crazy. So that's pretty much how I map out the track. And then, yeah, I get up in the morning and do drink a bunch of water in the morning as well. I try to drink a liter or so before I have a cup of joe, and then stretch out, have some food, and then get to the course about an hour before. Yeah, the routine's pretty much the same every time. I just putt for a while, just kind of get my lines with my mirror, and then try to get the speed down and go hit balls. I hit like four shots with each club. I skip 60 all the way up. And then I don't usually chip. I don't know why. I just don't. Sometimes I hit chips, but like at college events, coach likes us to hit some chips, but I don't know. I don't know why I don't chip. But
I never do either, man. But that's because I don't want to find the yips right before a round, though. That's my thing. Is I don't want to find that like 10 minutes before the tee off or something like that. So I just kind of.
I guess I just get into the shots when I'm out there, and it's just different than just whacking a few before. But yeah, and then I just go back to the putting green usually and roll some more putts and go to the first tee. But that's pretty much the routine for prep for tournaments.
So you finished in the qualifier. You were 1 under.
Yeah, I was 1. Yeah.
So you weren't really in any damage throughout the day. You said like you were +1 for a little while there, made a couple birdies, like middle of the pack, and then you kind of just cruised in. Did you think that, like you mentioned, you thought it would be 3 under at one point? Were you getting like score updates? Were you trying to keep on top of things? Like I know Brycer and I have a couple of friends that were playing in the event as well, so we were kind of checking it, and I know it was only updating after 9. So were you able to keep a pulse on that, or did you just kind of play your game and let the chips fall where they may?
Honestly, I didn't look. 1, because we were early, so there wasn't many guys. 2, because I just don't really look at leaderboards as much as I used to, because I'm just caught up in my own thing. But I looked on 8, the last hole, the drivable par 4, just because I guess I overestimated it. I thought the scores were going to be a lot lower than they were, especially with that field size. But I guess it was hard to make putts on those greens. So and the pins were in good spots, so it makes sense. But when I get in competition mode, I just I'm always shooting pretty high. But no, I didn't look until the last hole, just to make sure I was in a decent spot. And the guy that was following us said I was like T 4 or something. So but I still hit driver on 9 just because I was trying to make one more birdie to kind of solidify my spot. But I thought I would be on the bubble for sure, but the wind did get up in the afternoon, so I understand why the scores weren't as low.
What do you have in on 9? Just curious.
Like 35 yards.
Yeah, that's I made bogey from 25 yards, but that's the point.
That's that's so typical of us, man. That's
I missed the green as well, so that was pretty dust.
Yeah.
I
was on the right side of the fairway though, so I had to go over that bunker, and it was a like a back right pin, so it was tucked over that little bunker right there.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't put it back there.
I flubbed one, and yeah, it wasn't good. But anyway, yeah.
So Cam, just taking it back to like the different approach, we've had this conversation like quite a few times, like whether the guys are playing like Monday qualifiers or qualifiers for Corn Ferry Tour events, PGA Tour Canada, stuff like that. I've been lucky enough to been on the bag for a couple of friends and some guys who've been on the pod and stuff like that. So I've been able to see that like firsthand what it's like to kind of be out on the course, and like the guys are kind of talking about what they think the number might be based on the wind and things like that. So in that moment, like as you're playing, you're out early, so I guess it's not going to affect you as much. You're not going to think as much about it, but you kind of had a number that was in mind. Now, with that being like a qualifier, and you got to get into the top 20, I believe it was, right?
Yeah.
So are you going to like adjust your play throughout the round? Like in this case, you didn't get too off pace, like you didn't make any, too many bogeys or anything like that. But would you adjust things typically accordingly, like based on how the round is going? Like if you're starting off hot, are you going to get a little bit more, are you going to just get like a little bit more like, not relaxed, but just try to like kind of, cruise into the finish line? Or if you're kind of getting behind it, you're going to like pull driver a little bit more, make a couple more shots that you might not typically make? Or do you just try to stick with that decade and hope you roll some putts?
Yeah, I'd say, probably 90% of the time, I just try to stick with what I'm doing. I mean, I was going out there to try to win it. Obviously, everybody was going to try to win that thing, so you get the direct exemption right in.
Right.
And I sort of knew I wasn't going to. Obviously, through 9, I knew I'd obviously need to go off on the back of my game. I was kind of playing with my B game, so that was going to be hard to do. But yeah, no, I don't think there's really any. That's one big lesson I've learned from Scott Fawcett is, like, the more you try to push and make birdies, sure, you might make more birdies, but you're also going to equal them out pretty easily with bogeys, just from short side and just simply being too aggressive. So I try to just stick to my game plan majority of the time, and then I've gained a lot more confidence with my driver. So if anything, I'll be a little bit more aggressive if I see fit. But like, just because I feel a lot like I have a lot of control with my driver, and I didn't used to have as much a couple of years ago per se. So to be like 40 yards further than my 3-wood on a lot of holes, I'll definitely try do that. But yeah, most of the time I stick with what I've planned out, and yeah, hope to see some putts go in, and hope that I'm hitting it close enough to give myself lots of opportunities. But yeah, if I commit to what I've planned, I usually feel content with how the day went, even if I didn't play my best, because I committed to something. And yeah, I like to stick with decade. Most of the time, unless things are really bad and you're just forcing. But at that point, it's not really you playing. You're just sort of playing.
It's me playing golf. It's me playing
fantasy golf, where you're trying to make birdie on every single hole, versus like giving yourself good opportunities and making a couple outside chances that you shouldn't have, that kind of stuff. So I think that's one thing that's improved for me, is my patience and my strategy, versus before I felt sort of like a race to the finish line.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but using decade and following that pretty solidly, it doesn't really matter what golf course you play, right? Because you're using the
No,
same technique on every single hole on every single golf course, right? So, I mean, if you're gonna follow that to a T, it doesn't really matter what course you play. You're just your start lines and finish lines just change. Is that correct?
yep, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And then a second question to add on to that. I know my buddy Vim does used to do it a little in college, but you get on the Google Maps and do like your triangles and stuff, your misses right, misses left, and your start lines and stuff.
Yeah. I use the Decade app and get on the Google Earth there and just go with the driving target. At most of the time it's driver on those courses because they're so long. But yeah, that's how I do it. Is the just crap to crap and then find the center of it.
That's your aim point.
Yeah, and I hit like 61% of my fairways this year, which is I think it was definitely significantly better than last year. But more importantly, like I just wasn't really I didn't feel like I felt like I had a lot more control of my golf ball this year than I did in previous years because I wasn't trying to I wasn't super anxious or nervous to get it on that tree, falling on that tree. I understood that you got 50 yards here to hit it into, like just make your swing. So it definitely frees you up. I don't care what anybody says, and I definitely believe in it a lot. And I try not to get too rigid with it. Like, if it says 5 left of the pin, like if I see a nice tree 3 left of it, I'm gonna aim there. But I think it's really helped my game, and I think could help anybody's game really. Like if you shoot 100 or if you shoot 65.
Yeah, no, I agree. Are there any ever times? Sorry, I get really fascinated about the decade stuff. Are there any times where you're like you got 110 in and decade kind of says aim 10 yards left, but you're kind of feeling good and you're green light and taking aim? Or are you still following that decade all the time?
Yeah, pretty much. Unless there's something like water right or like bunker short sided or like a severe slope and the pin's here and I'm coming in from here or something. Severe slope that way. So where it's really, I'd say inside 125, I'm more aggressive. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at the pin a lot more. And then outside of that is where then you really you got to understand how, like your dispersion and, you make a decent swing, you pull it 3 yards and you're chipping versus, that would have been next to the pin if you had picked a better target. So
yeah,
I think it gets a little bit less important with the wedge, but even Scotty Scheffler says like when he won the Masters, he didn't aim at the pin one time the whole tournament, even with the wedge, and it's the best player in the world. So like some guys on my team are like, I don't buy it from 100 yards. Like, I mean, I don't know what to tell them because like if you don't buy it and Scotty Scheffler buys it, then I don't know. Drinking the wrong milk.
That wedge game was hot though too, man. That Masters, there was a few, like he had like 8 chip ins or something like that over the week. Like there's obviously some good luck going. I don't know if you call it luck at that point. It's good luck to have the ball roll in the hole, but he's definitely putting in the right places to be able to even, whether that be like, I'm sure when you're playing a course like Augusta, there is going to be some parts like if you're playing your decade type of play, like, and you're approaching the green, it's saying like you want to hit it here because even if you're a little bit off the green here, it's better than being on the green like Phil, like at the bottom of number 4 or whatever it was on Sunday, like when he made he 4 putted or something like that, one of the best putters in the existence of the game, like 4 putted from 80 something feet or whatever it was, and he still actually shot pretty low that day too. But
that's what I've learned too, is like sometimes being like hitting the green is so valuable, but sometimes being off the green, like in the fringe, pitching up to a pin, like, you're pitching straight uphill. A lot of times sometimes my coach and I, like at school, would even be like, yeah, you're better off here, like 10 yards short of the green than you are back there 40 feet because it's straight downhill.
Yeah.
It's just stuff you don't really think about until you start to like understand angles and where you need to come in from. And like positioning yourself with a chance to make the lowest score. Like, but yeah, like you said, it's crazy. A lot of like most people would think you're better off putting from 80 feet than you would be chipping from 15 yards, but like sometimes that's not the case.
Yeah, well, and to use an example of like one of the courses that we've talked about throughout the pod here is number 3 at Oshawa. Like if you're, at the back with a 70-foot putt, back left with a front right pin, like you're probably not two putting, like, or that's like you're hoping for a par at that point, and you're probably looking at bogey. But if you're like 5 yards short and you're hitting a little pitch shot into a front right pin, that's probably a hell of a lot less damaging, right? So it's just kind of like the course management, and that's something that I have I just have no control over that. Bryce doesn't either. It's that's the difference between you and I and Bryce, but it's kind of my game is in shambles too. So I don't mind hosting this thing, but I am not here to provide any golf advice or any thoughts right now. I think I'm getting into that Ken Hitchcock kind of role where I can't do it, but I could maybe I can talk about it and coach it a little bit, but I just can't do it anymore. It's I'm in a dark spot here, boys. I'm in a dark spot with my game right now. But if we can we get into the Coppinwood qualifier a little bit? So you're kind of all set up for that. Do you have an idea of what the field looks like? Are you going to prepare the same way? Like obviously that's one of the purest courses in the country. Like I'm sure you're looking forward to playing it. Do you get any practice rounds in there? How's it shaping up for that one?
Yeah, Jax, lay down, bud. Hey, Jax, lay down.
And I guess too, Cam, I guess do you know like how many how many players are getting through? Like is there only one spot? Was it kind of like this one?
I have no idea at the final. I was talking to my friend about it the other day, and I would assume for a full PGA event, like I mean the US Open one, I think they let through like at least 50 guys after all the final qualifying. So I would assume that Canadian Open's got to be more than just 2.
Yeah,
or 3.
I think I saw 12. Don't quote me on that at all, but for some reason I think I was reading 12.
12 total.
Yeah,
so
I would have to think it's about 5 from final. That would be my guess.
Yeah,
would get through, but maybe it's 3. Man, I don't really know. I don't think it's just the winner. That'd be kind of crazy, but I mean, it is a Canadian Open, so it could be. So, but I'm not sure. But as for Coppinwood, yeah, I haven't played it yet. I'm pretty excited to get out there. My buddy Ryan Somerville on my team plays and practices out there, so I'm gonna go play a practice round with him. Yeah, I've heard really good things about it. I've heard it's unbelievable and cool track and pure, super pure. So the opportunity to play there is awesome, and to play for a spot in the Open is even cooler. So yeah, I'll probably head down there probably a week before it, and then maybe play a practice round at Lambton too for the US Open final qualifier. Yeah, and then go from there. Make some notes and maybe get some tips from Ryan because he's played there a ton. And that's about it.
Yeah, we got a couple guys who have been on the pod. I think next week we're gonna have Nathaniel Coombs. He's a member there, and Kevin Gordon is a member there too. Kevin's been on the pod before. He's won one of those Monday qualifiers too. So
also don't quote me on this, but I think Perfetti plays there too. Could be wrong, but I think he does.
He was at Oshawa, Cole Perfetti, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't know if he's. I don't know.
He might not. Well, Cole's doing pretty good. So Cole's on the pod probably about a year ago now, Bryce? So he's doing well now. So I'm sure he's got some more endorsements. He's got that BioSteel endorsement, so maybe he can afford that a big bank at Coppinwood. Yeah, so it's there's definitely some guys. So if you're looking for a round and we can connect with you with anybody, definitely let us know, Cam. And or it sounds like you got a buddy who's there. So one thing that Kevin did say is it's like Kevin Gordon said it's like the best practice facilities like he's ever been to.
Yeah,
like he just goes there to just practice all the time. So I think it'll be pretty cool. It'll definitely be an event. There'll be some low scores, I think. Like I think guys can get around there pretty good, but I think it'll be fun to see how everybody approaches it. So with that being said, you're going to win. right? Like depending on the numbers, whether it's 1, 3, 5 that get in, how do you approach that event differently than you would the event that was in Oshawa this past Monday, or are you doing it the same way?
Yeah, I think it's the same way, really. I think depending on the course, like maybe on some par fives, I might get a little bit more aggressive and try to give myself a slightly better look at eagle. But other than that, I mean, it's the same game either way. I think all I can do is just put some good prep in for it and try to get my shot pattern as tight as I can. So I'm giving myself as many looks as I can, make sure I'm hitting it well and rolling my rock and thinking, well, like, I mean, if I'm calm and patient, I'll give myself a chance. But at the end of the day, to me, it's not the end of the world. Like, it's not who I am. Like, regardless of if I qualify or not, obviously I want to qualify, like, more than anything. It's a human response. But if I don't, it's not the end of the world. But I approach it pretty much the same. You know, you just got to hope that things are firing for you that day. And if they're not, try to make them. And if your glass is half full, then play with your glass half full and do your best with it. But yeah, it's just another great opportunity for me as an amateur, and great prep for my professional career to try to take all those guys down, and just another opportunity for me to believe in myself for 18 holes. And that's how I'm trying to look at it, and just be as calm and patient the whole day as I can, and try to take advantage of the holes that give you a little breather. That's about it, though. Pretty much the same game plan.
I like that, man. That's a really positive outlook on how to approach golf. Like we've talked about the mental aspect of the game and how it is it's overwhelming, man, consuming for a lot of people, and it sounds like it was when you were younger, and it's kind of changed to understand that like there's always going to be another opportunity, there's always going to be another shot, but that I think that could help you on the course. Like say say you start bogey or something like that, like the round's not over. It's gonna have to change some things and stuff like that, but some guys would just when I say some guys, I mean like myself, I would just fold up. I would just be there for the rest of the day to hang out with the boys and whatnot. But it's kind of cool to hear like the different approaches, and like when you mentioned like school golf and stuff like that, and some of the issues with the coaches, like that is not the first time we've heard that on the pod. It probably won't be the last. We've heard that half a dozen times or so now, and just the mental grind of the game. So it's cool, man. I think, but when you go back to talking about, like you said, long-term goals, right? I'm sure one of them is to one day play in the Canadian Open National Championship. And, that's a pretty short-term goal for now, but knowing that, hey, just if it doesn't work out, but you go out and play well, there'll be another opportunity, right? So
Right.
I like that, man. That's a really, really cool and refreshing way to, just hear about it. Like it's refreshing to kind of hear that positive response, that positive attitude. That's pretty cool.
I got it right here. Available to those who qualified for final stage qualifying, minimum of 4 spots directly into the 2023 RBC Canadian Open field.
That's all right. So
is that minimum as in like top 4 and ties? Would that be, or?
No, they would do a playoff.
Yeah.
So why does it say minimum of 4 though?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
If they have any like withdrawals or anything like that, like I know out in the BC,
there's at least 4.
Yeah, like I know out in the BC qualifier, we got to give a shout out to Ziggy, Bryce. Ziggy finished second. So
yeah, I saw that.
Tough go for Ziggy. So it's Ziggy's been in a second place a couple times in some of these qualifiers and stuff. He's knocking at the door for sure. I don't know if you know Ziggy Nathu, Zahid Ali Nathu. He is a player, man. But it's
oh yeah. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, Ziggy. Yeah, so Ziggy's like so cool, man. If you ever met him, you're like instantly friends with Ziggy. So I think they might just leave it open because it's right at the end of that would be the last qualifier. That's on what day would that be? Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a Saturday before the event. So if anything were to happen, I'm sure they just put 4 minimum 4 in case anything ever happens that people can't kind of get in and they want to move somebody in out of that field. That would be like the final one, right? So I assume that would be like the top 20 from Oshawa, the top 20 from the other regional qualifiers all get into play there. Do you know how big the field will be, Cam? Does that say anything there, Bryce, at all?
120.
120. So there's a few guys. So, yeah, it's a big field, but nice course, good event, and I don't know. I like the approach, Cam. I think it'll be a positive one for you. I think it'll be cool, man. I got to get up there. Maybe we can get up there and watch it. I don't know if you can get up, Brycer, but I might have to go up there and kind of check it out and say hello to a few of the guys. So, Cam, though, we really appreciate taking the time. I think we ran over a little bit more than what we said. It was really cool to talk qualifiers, man, and I appreciate Jack's kind of hanging out and keeping us cool over there for us. But this was a lot of fun, man. We'd love to have you back in the future. It's always kind of cool to loop back with some of the guests, see how their season went and stuff like that. But before we let you go, can you kind of let us know what's on tap for the rest of the season? Where are you hoping to play? Where are you playing? If you already have status anywhere, do you have an idea?
Yeah, well, I actually decided to go back for a 5th year at Eastern, so I'm doing that in August, and then the rest of the summer just those 2 qualifiers, and then the following week I'm doing the national amateur at just the invitational at the national there, and then I got a couple more qualifiers for like the Son of Hannah and the Southern Amateur, and then just a couple more invites in June, and then going to the Glencoe. If I don't make US Open, that's in Alberta. And then what else I got? I got a couple. I'm not going to play any of the professional stuff, I don't think, this summer, just because it's expensive and I can't make money yet. But yeah, and then I just got a couple more that I'm on the wait list for the Pac Coast Am, which is like a elite amateur series at the end of July, and then might play Ontario Am, might play Porter Cup. So yeah, it's pretty busy summer. Just trying to get all the Am stuff I can in, and then one more year at school to try to reach my goals that I didn't get taken care of last year.
I like it, man.
Well,
I
when
like
you're
it.
back at school, let me know. We can probably get around it. I'm like 30 minutes from Ipsy there, so I'm pretty close.
Oh, right on, yeah. That'll be fun.
I'm glad I looked. Sorry, we've got a few Instagram questions, but I have to ask you one from a past guest, a guy named Craig Steff on Instagram. Says Craig Steffrak. He was probably, I don't know, episode like 115 or something. He was a couple months ago. So a really cool story too. So go back and listen to that one. How long does that hair take in the morning?
I'd say a solid 5 minutes.
Okay. All right. Start to finish. Like, are we?
Yeah. No more, no less.
Okay.
Just a couple of combs. Maybe a little hairspray this morning. She was getting crazy, and then make sure the beard's maintained. It's been a work in progress. I like where we have her, but yeah, I'd say no more than 5 minutes, Craig. That'd be the answer for that one.
I like it. And sorry we didn't get to that one sooner, but I appreciate anybody who's listening to stick with us and check that one out. I'll have to remember to go back and cut a reel on that. I have a beard. I have longer hair than I've probably ever had in my life. It's like as long as yours now, Brycer. But yeah, it takes
it. I just took off my hair the other day.
Yeah. Damn. But yeah, selfless plug. You can. If you want, you can go over to manscaped.com and use the promo code OTS Golf for 20% off plus free shipping if you want to get any. They got like a whole beard hedgers, beard oil, beard balm selection now. It's pretty good stuff. So maybe it'll be looking as good as Cam here. Maybe not. Maybe you don't have those genetics, but the golf game is strong, so it might help. But Cam, this was great, man. Thanks so much. Hopefully I can get up there to Coppinwood. I'll come by and say hello. I won't bother you on the range or whatever, but I'll just come by and say hello. And yeah, man, best of luck. Really looking forward to kind of following, seeing how you're doing. Really like your approach to the game was I don't know, Bryce, or something that we haven't really heard. This was like kind of new, so it's kind of cool to hear that, like a mental approach and stuff like that. You know, it's always kind of nice to touch base with that, but we definitely got to have you back in the future, man. This was fun.
Right on. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. It was fun for sure, and nice to talk about kind of life and golf because you kind of don't really get to vent it and talk to people that aren't therapists and just kind of shoot the shit. So it was fun.
Yeah.
I always love telling my story. I don't get to do it much, but it's fun talking about myself. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's
For
kind of
sure,
cool to
yeah.
just like golf is just one of those things that obviously if we're on the pod or if you're listening, we all have that in common and we all know like the ups and downs, whether like you said it really well there, Cam, like you said it like comparing decades, like you can use it if you know, if you're a +6 or if you're a, you know, 15 handicap, 20 handicap, 30 handicap, whatever it is, it's still a good approach to use and it can kind of take some of the emotion away from the game, right? So if you're like my friend Corey who struggles in those cash games, this is not a bad idea to look at something like this and just, yeah, just have a different approach. Try it out. Can't hurt, right? It's obviously, it's working for you. And I think it's something that we should all maybe look at putting into our games too, Bryce. We might have to have a look at this. Bryce hits the ball way too long though to work on something like this. It's just too enticing, man. It's too enticing to have that Bryce length off the tee, man. I wouldn't be able to control it. It would be for me. I think I find the fairway. I can hit the ball there, but yeah, Brycer, you got too much length, man. You just got to go for it. That's your game.
There's a hole where it calls for like a 6-iron layup. I'm most likely hitting driver and trying to go out.
Yeah,
Send
like,
it.
Yeah, it's like
I don't lay out.
317 carry over the water. It's just like, or you could just lay up a
time,
6-iron. It's just we're going for that. All gas, no brakes, right? But yeah, sorry, Cam. This was great, man. This was great. Say hello. Say thank you to Jack. Sorry, and you know, take him for a walk or something. Tell him thank you, and yeah, we'll do this again, man. This was a lot of fun.
All right, right on. Thanks a lot, guys.
Is out in my ball in the course, so I tee up. I lose a ball and I re-up. I miss a fairway, I probably end up in the ocean or maybe the beach. And I'm on a par 5 and I'm finna go reach it. Second was blind, I ain't see it. Feel like it might be an albatross. Worst case scenario.